Hey sunshines, this is your girl Chula. Welcome or welcome back to my channel, Hooked on Houseplants, where we love our houseplants, but we do not allow them to stress us out. How are y'all doing this morning? I hope you are having a fabulous day. If you are not, because I know a lot of us are dealing with some serious issues in our lives, Um, I'm sending warm hugs and prayers to you, hoping, or for you, hoping that things will get better. Okay? All right, so today I'm going to show you some things that I have been up to, a few updates in the collection, starting with my Monstera albo. I know y'all remember this beauty. She was up to the ceiling in my plant room. Well, about 3 months ago, I decided, or maybe not 3 months ago, maybe about 2 months ago, I decided to chop her up because I was going to have to chop her anyway because she was up to the ceiling. So I decided to just restart the plant. I just thought that that would be easier and just to give her a new start, as well as um, to give her a more aesthetically pleasing look. Now, before, this plant was pushing out a variegated leaf and then a non-variegated leaf and then a variegated leaf. You get my drift. And so I have all of the non-variegated leaves from this plant potted up together in pond, and I just have the variegated portions here. So when this plant pushes out any leaves that are non-variegated, I will be chopping them off. I want this particular plant to be all variegated. Okay, so what I did a couple of days ago, if you remember, I was growing the propagations out in water. And at the beginning of this video, you saw where I had this plant, or I'm growing this plant in my bedroom. So I wanted to kind of show you where all three of these plants are growing so that you can see how much light they're getting and everything. So this plant is now in pond, and I just want y'all to observe how I am growing this plant in a plastic food canister. Yes, I surely am. And the reason why I chose this type of growing vessel is to avoid the situation that you're going to see in this B-roll. What happens a lot of times with these vigorous growers is you pot them up, and within months, their roots are growing down through the drainage hose. And I guess there's nothing wrong with that, but when it comes time to repot, it can be a pain in the neck trying to get them out of the pot without damaging the roots. And a lot of times, I know myself, I'm not successful. I'm going to damage some roots. And so I was trying to avoid that by putting this plant in a no drainage setup so that the roots cannot escape the bottom of the container. Now, usually I do leca as well as pond mix, but I said, why pond? Why the pond when I can just do leca? And the reason why is because for me, leca is easier to clean and rinse off, and it's less expensive than pond. It's a little bit less expensive, I have found. So I just recently got a 10-pound bag off Amazon for about $20. And so yeah, so this plant is just all in leca entirely. And it had water roots as well. So I figured it would do very well in just leca. You can't really see any of the roots right now, but the roots were looking very nice when I potted this plant up. You can see a lot of the thick aerial roots, and you can see a new growth here, and that looks like this shoot is going to be variegated, or it is variegated. And then it has another growth point here. Wait a minute. All these leaves in the way. Okay. So it has another growth point there. So all in all, it's looking pretty good. Now, the reason, oh, there's a root. You can see a root right there. So I filled the reservoir to about right in there. Actually, it was a little bit higher because the roots came down that far. So, yeah. So that is the newest update with my Monstera albo. And I'm gonna show you the nutrient solution that I'm using for my plants that I'm growing in semi-hydro. Okay, so it's nothing fancy. I'm just showing you what I use. This says that it's for hydroponic and aeroponic fertilizer. So this is what I use for my plants that I am growing in semi-hydro. And so far, it seems to be getting the job done. Okay, so that is the albo. So next up is, if you remember in a previous video, I talked about how I wanted to do a combo pot with my strawberry shake philodendron, as well as the pink princess and the white princess. Well, I did go ahead and pop these 3 plants up. And so this is what it's kind of looking like. Let me move these other plants to the side so you can get a better look. Well, that still really didn't help much. Let me see. Okay. A lot of times it's hard to see when you got a whole lot of other stuff around it. Okay, so this is what it's looking like so far. And it's not as cute as I thought it was going to be, but I know that the plant kind of needs time to settle into its new home. But yeah, this is what it looks like so far. So here is the pink princess. And this is the strawberry shake. And this is the white princess down in there. So as I did with the albo, I just put this plant in all leca. Love this container. I like this one better than the other one because this is, I think, acrylic. And it's a little bit, well, it is more transparent than the other container. So because these roots came up a little bit further, I filled up the container to about halfway with the nutrient solution water. So you can see some of the roots. And they looked very good at the time that I repotted. I did all of these, I think, on Monday of this week. So they haven't been in this setup too long. But yep, that is how it's looking. I can't wait for it to fill out And as you can see, some of the leaves are looking kind of rough. I had to cut some off and they were starting to kind of decline a little bit. So I felt like I needed to hurry up and get this plant potted up. Okay, so right here is a new growth point on the strawberry shake, as well as right here. So see, when you cut your plants, and I hear a lot of creators say this, that it really encourages your plant to grow and to shoot out new growth points. So don't be afraid to cut your plant. Actually, here's another one. I didn't even see that one to just now. There's another growth point right there. If you can see that right here. And I just saw another one. Where did I see the, oh, let's see. Let me turn around this way. Right here is another growth point. So see, this plant is going to be really full in no time. And the white princess is putting out another leaf right there. And the reason why I decided to do this is because if you remember, I saw another plant YouTuber, and she said that she was growing her pink princess in semi-hydro. And she said that she never got stuck leaves. Now, as you know, that is something that irritates us so much about the pink princess sometimes is the stuck leaves. So, you know, the plant, especially the strawberry shake, it wasn't looking too great anyway. It had really big internodal spacings, and it just looked kind of long, gangly, and straggly looking. So I had no qualms about just go ahead and cutting this plant up. And the white princess was doing the same thing with the stuck leaves. So I said, why don't I just chop them up, and to cut down on space, on these plants taking up too much space, I'm just gonna pot them up all together and see how they do. So that is my combo pot. Let me know what y'all think down in the comments. And if it look ugly, I mean, it's not gonna hurt my look. If y'all think it look a mess, just it's not gonna hurt my feelings. But let me know what you think down in the comments, because sometimes if you have a lot of plants and you don't have that much space, it can be a good idea to pot up some plants together. Okay, moving on to one of my favorites. This is the Billiettiae crossed with Adabapoense. Y'all know this is my boo. Y'all already know. This is another plant that, if you remember, was touching the ceiling in my plant room. So I knew that I was going to have to cut the plant anyway. Same thing, had a lot of wide internodal spacings. Didn't really like how the plant was growing, how it was looking. So I just chopped it up. And I wanted to grow this plant in semi-hydro. So same thing, it's all in leca. Let me take it out of this container. So you can see some of the roots poking through. And the reason why I like growing these types of philodendron in semi-hydro is because sometimes I struggle with knowing with the watering. And so I kind of felt like, well, since I had to restart the plant anyway and the propagations was growing in water, I knew the plant was going to have water roots anyway. So I said, you know what, I'm just going to see if I can grow this plant in semi-hydro, and then that way I won't have to be second guessing myself about watering and all of that. And so far, y'all, this plant is looking good. Okay, so look, this is where I cut. This is one place where I cut, and you see it has a new growth point. I also cut here. See that? New growth point. So see, I'm loving all of this. And then here is another, I think this was a previous propagation that I had taken and put with the mother plant. This leaf is kind of curled up looking, but it's about to open up. And so yeah, that is the Atabapoense Billiettiae cross growing in leca. Here is another growth point up here. So that is what I am working with. Let me step back so you can see. This plant has some really big leaves. Love this plant. I know y'all have heard me say that so many times. Okay, so that is my updates on these 3 plants. And so now I'm going to take you into the plant room where we can see some other things that are going on in the collection. Okay, y'all, so we are in the plant room and I wanted to show you an update on this Michael Molleriana vietnamensis. This plant desperately needed a repot, and I had it in a plastic planter, and I had it sitting down inside of this one. Well, now the whole plant is just in this ceramic pot. And I did that because I don't plan to ever repot this plant again. This was a headache repotting this plant because it's kind of delicate. Because remember, this is in the same family as the African violet, but it really needed to be repotted. And so when I repotted it, 2 of the stems broke. And as you can see, I had to give this plant some support. I had to give some of the stems support to keep them from breaking. But anyway, despite my efforts to be careful, I still broke 2 of the stems. So I chopped them and kept the top portion of the stems because they were kind of leggy anyway. And I googled, I googled how to propagate this plant, and it said that you could take stem cuttings, and it said to put root hormone on the end, which I did not have, and just stick it back down into the potting mix. So that is what I did. It seems to be doing okay, but some of the bottom leaves are a little bit soft, which is to be expected, but these leaves in the center are fine. So I don't know. I don't know if it's going to take root or not. And then the other one is right there that I did the same thing with. I just cut the top. Now this one feels a little bit more firm, the leaves. I just cut the top portion off and put it down into the substrate. And the plant itself produced this pup on its own. So it is in a self-watering setup because this plant is extremely thirsty. So what I did was I put it down into this, what is this called? You know, it catches the water. I can't think of what it's called, y'all. So when you lift it up, and this is very heavy, I have a wick. I don't know if y'all can see it down in there coming through. at the bottom. Can y'all see that wick? I can't lift this plant up with one hand, but there is a wick down in there. And so when it needs to be watered, which this did have water in it, so I know that it works. It's completely dry now. But yeah, that's how I will water this plant. I'll just put water here. And because it has a wick coming through the bottom drainage hole, the plant will be able to absorb the water that way. So yeah, I'm happy. I went ahead and got it out of the way. Like I said, I don't have any plans to be repotting this plant. And it blooms constantly, as you can see. And the blooms are so pretty. So that is an update on that plant. And since we're over here, I wanted to show y'all this cute little leaf on my Alocasia venom. This is the first leaf that this plant has grown in my care. It did come with two smaller leaves. It lost the other leaf, and then this is the other one that it came with. This is also growing in semi-hydro, but I just thought that that leaf was just the cutest thing. And then my Billiettiae put out another leaf. Now I told y'all I was not happy because this leaf is not variegated. So it gave me this leaf next. And I guess that's supposed to be variegated. What y'all think? It's just kind of, now I don't know if once it's almost hardened off, but it still feels like it's going to harden off some more. So is that variegated? Would y'all consider that variegated? I have to kind of see if it's going to get darker, but it's been like this color for about almost a week. So I don't know. I don't know if that's supposed to be variegated, but we will see. Okay, so that's this little section over here. So right here, okay, y'all, this is a hot mess. I thought, y'all, I thought I was doing something. Okay, so this is my beefsteak begonia, y'all. And I'm gonna insert some B-roll so y'all can just see how crazy this plant was looking. I mean, it was just, I just did not like how this plant was growing. Because as you can see, is this called a rhizome? Or whatever it's called. This plant crawls. It will crawl across the top of the substrate. So what was happening is, as you can see from the B-roll, because of the way that the stems were coming out, it wasn't allowing the plant to rest on top of the substrate, which is what I wanted to give it more support. So that is why I ended up chopping those stems off. And as you can see now, the plant is able to crawl across the surface to give it more support. So these are the leaves that it is left with. I also had to look at videos to see how to propagate this plant. And it was 3 different ways. So I tried to do, look, I tried to do 2 of the ways. So, which I have done this with begonia before anyway. But these are a couple of the stems. So this is stem propagation. So this plant should root up at the bottom of the stems. And so once it roots up, I'm going to put it back in with the plant to fill it out more. So yeah, these are the cuttings that I took. I would have taken more, but a lot of the leaves were raggedy looking. Like this one has a big tear in it, but so I was only able to keep these 4. And then I tried to do the leaf thing. Now, I don't know. Y'all, I don't know how this is gonna work out. And then I had the nerve to put this plastic Tupperware, well, it's not Tupperware, this plastic container. Do y'all remember Tupperware? There was a time when Tupperware was like the thing. People was having Tupperware parties and all of that. But anyway, so yeah, the way the person did it in the video that I saw was they made like a little cutting across the leaf, and they allowed like some of the substrate to come up through the cutting or the slit in the leaf, and then they kind of watered the area and kind of pressed the leaf down. So I tried to do that, y'all. I don't know how it's gonna turn out. I do not, because they actually put their cutting in on top of, let's see, they put it in a container, and they put a lid on the container, I guess for the humidity. So I wanted to just put it in the pot so I wouldn't have to worry about transferring it later. And then I just kind of put this on top of it for a little bit of humidity. I know y'all are like, Chula. But you never know. You never know. It might work out. So I will keep y'all updated. But this plant is a very vigorous grower. I have no doubt that when spring hits, this plant is going to be growing like a weed, and it will fill up this pot. And then plus I have those cuttings that I'm going to add back in. So that's a nice little update on this plant. And then I kind of set this one up here on top to kind of cover the bare space. These are just cuttings. This is the heartleaf philodendron. This is the painted lady syndapsis. So I just kind of potted these up together. They're in semi-hydro. So I just set this there. Okay, so what else do I want to show y'all? I don't know if I showed y'all this, but I did. This is, see, let me tell you. The green escape, it's like we always fall, all of us. So don't even try to act like you haven't. The green escape, it's kind of hit or miss with them. Like it truly is, because I got this starter plant. This is the silver longiloba alocasia, and this plant is doing awesome. Now it came with this leaf, this one, this one, this one, and that one. And I've had this plant for a little over a month, and it has given me, this is the newest leaf, which is not hardened off, and this one. Look how good that looks. Well, I have since put this plant in semi-hydro. I think I have this one in a leca and pond mix, but you can just see the leca on top. And y'all see those roots? So that one is growing out really well. I love this plant. I just love the look of this plant. So there's that one. And let's see what else. Okay, this is the other one, the other starter plant that I got from the Green Escape. This is the Alocasia Golden Bone. And it came with 3 leaves. And these are the 2 that it came with. And then this is the newest leaf. And I didn't know if this plant was going to make it, y'all, because it was looking kind of... But this one's also in semi-hydro, dropping leca, in a leca pond mix. And then I have also potted up my Rhaphidophora tetrasperma. Okay, y'all, this plant, okay, I know y'all are like, didn't you have that on a mouse pole in your kitchen? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And the plant was not doing well at all. So I chopped it up again, rooted the cuttings in water, this plant roots really quickly. Well, at least it did for me. And so I have since put the cuttings in semi-hydro, pond, and leca mix. And it has this new growth. That's a new leaf. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna see how it does. I don't think I'm gonna try to put this plant on a moss pole anymore. Once it starts to grow out, then I'll decide what I want to do with it. I've also moved my Alocasia gagiana, I guess, excuse me, Aurea. I moved this plant underneath this grow light because I felt like it wanted and needed more light. And I think I can already tell it's doing better because number one, it's not reaching anymore. I used to have it on, turn really slowly. I used to have it up there on the top of that shelf where my Sabrina is. Now, I felt like the Sabrina needed less light because I don't know if this is fertilizer burn or too much light. So anyway, I just decided to swap these two plants out. You want to say hi to the people, Fanta May? Ew, Fanta May. It's my buddy, y'all. She's my second buddy. She follows me everywhere I go, just like Phoebe girl. Fanta May. So yeah, I swapped those out and I put the Gagiana over here. So I'm gonna see how it does over there. And my Monstera has a new leaf coming out. It's gonna be a big one. It's gonna be a big one, y'all. And I got something cute going over here on this wall, but I'm gonna save that for another video. I also put my anthurium, well, this one was already over here, the Michelle Doc block, and then I put it over in the humidity hub to kind of give it more humidity, but I don't know. When I had it over here before, it was doing fine. It was doing fine. And it's getting so big that I don't know. I just put it back over here with crystallinum. So yeah, these two are back over here. I don't know what that is. Is that a leaf or inflorescing? And I also moved my variegated Anthurium hookeri over here because I can already see this thing. The leaf got tore because of where it was at. It just wasn't it didn't have enough space where it was. So for right now, I have it here. And I also repotted my Begonia natuanensis because it was drying out like too quickly. Like every other day, this thing was dry. And so I felt like it needed to be repotted, and I was correct. And it's looking so much better, y'all. So much better. And also, I had to repot, y'all, Fanta May. Y'all, hold on. Okay. Y'all, Fanta be doing the most. Okay, so I also repotted this begonia. Let me show y'all. I know I was supposed to repot with y'all, but you know, I be having a lot going on and I kind of have to do things when I can do it. And it was kind of spur of the moment. And to be honest, you know, I really prefer to do repotting off camera, but leave that leaf alone. But as I have said, you know, I am willing to do it. I mean, a couple of you have said that you like to see repottings, but I didn't get like big response when I asked about it. So let me know again, please, in the comments if you really want to see me do repots. But anyway, this is another mixed pot, which, as I said, is a good hack for saving space. I combine the Lana, Begonia Lana, with the Black Magic. And if you remember, I had it in a glass mug, and every other day, this thing was bone dry. So I have since repotted it in this vessel or in this plastic food canister. And it has a leca reservoir at the bottom, and it's mixed with leca and pond. And already, like the water line, when I first potted it up, the water was like up to here, y'all. This was like earlier this week, and already it's down to there. So yeah, this is thirsty. These cane begonia, the majority of them are very thirsty. So I love this setup because I feel like the plant is not going to dry out so quickly as it was before. And pretty soon I'm going to have to do some more of my begonia this way because I have a lot of them that are doing the same thing. They're just drying out every other day, and it's just a hassle. It's a hassle keeping up with that. So yeah, I'm just gonna put them in a larger container. So what else do I have going over here that I wanted to show y'all? Fanta kind of distracted me. Oh, one thing that I wanted to show y'all is I also potted up this domino peace lily. Let me show you. If you remember, I had this peace lily growing in water because I had it in just potting mix and it was not doing well at all. Y'all look at Fanta. She's so nosy. Are all cats nosy? Or is it just Fanta? Because she is extremely nosy. Like, she got to be in the Kool-Aid, in the mix. But anyway, so about 2 weeks ago, I potted her up in pond and leca with a leca reservoir at the bottom. And she is doing fabulous. She was doing good in just plain water because I know that that's how some people grow their peace lilies anyway, in just water. But my plans had always been to eventually switch her over to semi-hydro, and she's doing very well. This is another acrylic vessel that I got. Now I think I got this one from the Dollar Tree. So I need to go back. I need to go back to the Dollar Tree and get some more of these vessels for to repot some of my cane begonia. Y'all, Fanta. So yeah, I wanted to show y'all that peace lily, how well it's doing in semi-hydro. All right, so let me get up from here. I think that is everything that I wanted to show y'all for today. But everything seems to be doing. Wait a minute. How could I forget this? How could I forget this, y'all? I was debating on whether I wanted to even show y'all this plant because I'm like so hurt. I'm embarrassed. I am hurt because in December I was just bragging on this plant. Like, this was one of my December favorites. I think it was the end of the year favorite of all my plants. And I'm going to show y'all. Y'all don't laugh. Don't you dare laugh. Look, but how quickly we are humbled. I mean, I wasn't bragging per se, but I was proud. I was very proud of this plant. And y'all look. Y'all look at my Frydek. the nerve to put her down here in this corner so y'all couldn't see her. Y'all. There are no words. She's a three-leaf wonder. I know y'all are like, Chula, what happened? I don't even know my own self. This is my theory. This is my theory because you know I always got a theory. I used a different fertilizer on this plant. And I feel like the fertilizer was too strong and it burned the roots. That's what I think happened because I cannot think of anything else that it could be. Because this looks like fertilizer burn to me. Can y'all believe that this plant over the last 3 weeks has lost, I think this plant had like 10 leaves. Y'all remember? I think I actually have a short that I might insert so y'all can see. But y'all remember how beautiful this plant was, and it had full of leaves. I'm gonna insert some B-roll too. And so like 3 weeks ago, the leaves started doing this, and it started losing leaf after leaf after leaf. And I was so mad at myself. I was like, why did I use that fertilizer? Why did I do it? Why didn't I just leave well enough alone? So we had a talk, me and Miss Frydek, we had to come to an understanding of sorts. I promised her that I would never use that fertilizer again. And because she was mad at me, she refused to speak to me for the last couple of weeks. She was like, Chula, you shouldn't have done what you did. Look at me. And I apologized to her. I did. And we talked it out. So, yeah, I'm not going to use that fertilizer anymore. I have since, because I don't know if it was the new fertilizer or not. That was the only new thing that I done with this plant. So I'm just assuming that that's what it was. And I just want to kick myself because I should have used it half strength when I first tried it. But I didn't think I was going to run into this problem. So with all of my plants, I have reduced. I'm using still the fertilizer that I showed you in the last video, which my plants do very well with that one. But I have since started to use it half strength because I don't want this to happen to any of my other plants. So in the B-roll, you will see, I did check on the roots the other day, and I have it wrapped in a towel because when I took the plant out to check the roots, the moss felt kind of cold. But as you can see, the roots are doing very well. So I know, I am confident that I can grow this plant back to its former glory. But yeah, because the roots were rotten like that, I decided to root this one up in sphagnum moss. And it seems to be doing very well in sphagnum moss. It even has a corm, as you saw in the B-roll. So yeah, now that you've seen these leaves, I don't know if I want to cut these off or leave them. You hear some people say that when leaves are like this, they kind of attract pests and other things. And then you have people that say that the plant needs these leaves to photosynthesize. So I don't know. What would y'all do? They ugly. They are so ugly. Look. I got the nerve to push her back in the corner. But let me know what y'all think. What would you do? Would you cut them leaves off or would you just leave them alone? Look, I need to leave stuff alone. But yeah, I was so hurt. Y'all was so hurt by that. But you see, I'm being transparent, and I want you to see that we all go through stuff with our plants. We make mistakes, but then you just learn from those mistakes. A while ago, I would have but I had to accept that it is what it is. I mean, we can only do the best that we can with our plants. Sometimes we make decisions that aren't the best decisions. and we suffer the consequences, but we also learn from those mistakes. And one thing that, if you can take away from this video, that I have to constantly tell myself, leave stuff alone. If it's working for you, if your plants are doing well, don't switch it up. That comes to fertilizer, uh, lighting, or like if you have them in a certain spot, leave them there unless you just have to move them. But less is more. I think when it comes to our plants, less is more. And if you're like me, I'll be doing too much. I'll be doing too much with my plants, and I hate that that happened, but I will keep you updated on Miss Frydek. Okay? All right, y'all. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I have so much to show y'all. I have so much, but I gotta save stuff for another video. I have some new plants, a couple of new plants that I had that you haven't seen since my houseplant tour, which I hope you watched. I will link that if you have not seen it. But if you enjoy this content, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And check me out on my other platforms, my TikTok as well as Instagram accounts. Okay, so my next video, let me know what y'all want to see. Do you want to see all of the plants that I'm growing in pond or semi-hydro? Do you want to see my philodendron collection or some new plants that I have? It's only about maybe 5 or 6 new plants that I have. So let me know down in the comments what y'all want to see next, okay? So take care, y'all. Hugs. I'm sending you hugs, warm wishes, and thoughts. And I hope you all are doing well. So I'm going to close out with the newest leaf on my Philodendron Spiritus Sancti, y'all. Okay? Because I feel like y'all need to see something beautiful and positive after that Frydek. So y'all take care, and until the next time, hooked on houseplants, y'all. Bye.